What's up, guys? It's Chris Moulton, Andrew Martin. It's the Union Report. We're joined by none other than your Monterey-based Sirens coaching staff, Laura VanWart and Cristian Materazzi. How are you guys doing today?
We're great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Oh, we're super excited to have you guys. I have a list of questions, so if at any point you want to look ahead, you can just look down this way. But want to start with you, Laura. Where did your love for soccer begin?
I was the generation that played all sports, but soccer definitely took over at about 8th grade. I don't know about my love for soccer. I was very much the tomboy growing up. I actually initially wanted to play Major League Baseball for the Mets.
Oh, nice.
Fun
Okay.
fact.
There
My
you
dad
go.
was a big Mets fan. But we moved out to California when I was in 8th grade, and the soccer level just was so much higher than where I grew up on the Florida Panhandle, and just joined an elite team, and it just took off from there. And it's taken me all over the world with my travel. Met my husband playing pickup soccer. It's changed my life.
Awesome. And what position did you play on?
I was a center mid.
Okay. And then I guess we can ask you the same question, Cristian. Where did your love for soccer start out?
I was definitely part of a soccer family. My parents live in Italy. Although I grew up in Southern California, I'd spent 3 months in the summer in Italy. My dad played, his family played, my brother played. It was just part of life. I think it stuck with me more than anyone in my family. They went on to do other things, and soccer has been my life. Once I stopped playing, I started coaching. It's always been there. It's in the blood.
Okay, and are you a fan of the Serie A then? Or
I am, yeah.
What's your team?
My family's from Florence, so they'll hate hearing this, but Juventus is my team.
Oh, okay. I can still sit here, I was going to say. But, and then I'm going to just throw this out, and you guys can answer if you want, whatever. Do either of you guys have like a hero or someone that inspired you in world football as you've been pursuing your coaching careers?
As a player, it was Buffon was always kind of like, I was a goalkeeper, and he was always kind of the model that I tried to go after. Coaching-wise, I'm not really sure. That's a good question.
Player-wise, I would say Mia Hamm. Just watching her growing up. The later generations also. The 99ers, that was kind of when I was finishing high school. So I actually played with a couple, so that was unbelievably inspiring. I think locally, like Brandy Chastain, I think, worked with her a little bit with the Olympic Development Program and watched her coach. And I think they have a comment that just say, when you sit with champions, the conversation is different. So just the level of competitiveness and in that elite athlete is just so fascinating and wonderful to be around. I think it brings out the best in everyone around them.
Awesome.
And something I'm really interested in, and this is for both of you as well, what would you guys consider to be the main tent poles of your coaching and leadership philosophies? Like, what would you want your players to come away with if nothing else, or what would you want them to do on the field if nothing else?
You mean, are you talking tactically or more culturally?
Either, actually, yeah.
I think culturally, something that we always try to do is we talk about challenge and support. I think with our current program now and our players, our job is to kind of hit both sides of that. The challenge is, of course, innate. Like, our job is to kind of constantly push that little boundary just enough so they're on that learning edge. But I think with that challenge day in and day out, there's also the support as a whole person. And so I think if you can walk that line, you can really get the most out of your players. So I'd say culturally, that's a really big one. I also think, I kind of mentioned it before, but just with what soccer's done for my life, just with the travel and everything, I do think there's such a sense of belonging when it comes with athletics. And so I think being a part of something that's bigger than yourself, and I think especially here with the women's team, it's also just really being a part of this community. And so that sense of belonging piece of just, I'm one of the few college coaches that I love high school soccer. I think I just remember being a high school athlete where while on the weekends at club soccer, you're out playing in different communities and you're playing at a high level, when you walk down your hallways in high school, your math teacher's like, oh, I saw your game, you're amazing, I didn't know you were that good. So I think people get to see a different side of you that maybe they wouldn't see every day. And I think playing within your own community gives you that sense of belonging as well. And you just get to it's such a different role to play that I think it's just something that sports really brings to communities and to players.
Well said. I think I'm a culture guy, so creating that kind of environment like Laura was just talking about where they feel belonging and kind of more than just the team atmosphere and what they're bringing for the community and how they're building that together. That's going to be a big part of this, especially with how many locals we have and how the outreach the community has already shown. giving back to what's already been shown to us is important.
And I think we're also trying to reach all of the players where they are right now. And it's a mix of players. We have some really talented youth players, maybe seniors in high school, rising seniors going off to college the next year. So we're really trying to, create that amazing professional atmosphere for them to grow as players and, be really successful when they get to college. And then the other end of it, we have players who are finishing college or who are trying to sign professional contracts. So really, we're trying to meet everyone where they're at, like on the roster, and feel like we can support each of their journeys.
Oh, you got.
Oh, that's me. I'm so sorry. I'm sitting here like basking in the answer and
Yeah.
taking it in.
I even put the initials.
I know, it's pretty, I was like, I think it's you.
In terms of coaching, what has been a significant triumph, but also a significant challenge for you as coaches, looking back at your past, or even the present, I guess?
I like that you looked at me. Like, Laura's going to go first. I think it's been a wonderful challenge and also journey, the years I spent here at Cal State Monterey Bay. I think we've kind of had to solve every kind of challenge there was. We've definitely, the university has grown since I've been here, the area, but also the athletic department.
And
So
you've both been at CSUMB in the coaching capacity since when, both of you?
I started in 2016.
Yeah.
I started again in 2021, but initially my coaching journey started here in 2006.
Got it.
And so I think that the past years here of really taking a program, kind of rebuilding it, and then trying to create a lasting, sustainable, competitive program in a really competitive conference and part of the world. I've grown so much as a coach in this journey. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
And so, I'm guessing the answer's kind of obvious, but how did you guys come to learn about the Monterey Bay Sirens and receive the offer to be the coaches?
When we came back from break, as college coaches, I actually met with Oliver, along with our men's coach, and Kirby Gary, who's the athletic director at CSUMB. Really just kind of a meet and greet. Oliver was new to the club. He was just kind of trying to connect with the college program because he wanted that relationship to be seamless, which has been wonderful. And so in that process, he talked about the women's team and what he wanted for it. And then over the course of the next couple of weeks, we just kind of kept talking about it. And he was looking for someone local to take over. He kind of really champions female coaches, which I really appreciated and really wanted to give a female coach a chance. And so we kind of talked, and it seemed that we had aligned in what we were trying to do. And so from there, I grabbed Cristian immediately. We're a bit of a team, the two of us, and then we started kind of working to put the rest of the staff together. We have a wonderful staff, some who aren't here, and we just kind of started going with players and trying to reach out to every local player we could think of.
Nice.
If I could add to that, after their first meeting, Laura came back and was like, Oliver's looking for a qualified woman who's from the area that can coach this team. And Laura said, who do you recommend? And without question, it's Laura.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Right.
She's the one for the job, by far most qualified. If you see the way the roster's developing, it was the right choice, without question.
Nice.
Now the Sirens are going to be part of the USL W league when they start play. First home match is, I believe, May 9th. How important do you think it is for this league to bridge the gap between college and professional women's soccer?
Incredibly important. There are not enough opportunities for the amount of talent the United States has. There's just not enough opportunities playing professionally locally. And I think really in the country, most players, we've had players from CSUMB go on to play in Mexico and in Europe. But the idea of creating more opportunities like at home is going to be massive. And I think that there's, what we're trying to do is really just get players, it's a platform. It's a place where players can come and really perform and get themselves out there to kind of bridge that to that next level. And I think with the Monterey Bay FC already having so many inroads and so much knowledge in the professional game, I think that it'll be a place where they can really support the players that end up playing here.
And so the next question, there's been a welcome rise in popularity and exposure to women's sports in recent years. Where do you see soccer fitting in that, and how do you believe national interest will continue to evolve? That's a long one.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That is a long one.
I mean, as you can see with just the attendance at the NWSL games it's rising dramatically. You know, and then even just the the media that's going around with the Sirens, it's blown up. You know, over 500 season tickets have already been sold. It's something the community is dying for. So it's really exciting. And with the Salinas Valley here and the amount of talent that she was just talking about we have in the area, now it's here. It's in their backyard. It's really incredible. I do think the opportunity for this to grow is right at our feet, right here.
Awesome. Yeah, we don't often get a chance to talk about things like Title IX and the impact that it's had. And you had mentioned Mia Hamm, and I mean that was where you really saw the first fruits on a global scale of that. And just for me personally, it's something that I've always just been like, yes, that was like what we need more of. And so we're so excited, like beyond excited. I am a season ticket holder, so
Good job, guys.
And a quick pause before the next question. Cristian mentioned the season tickets. Those are still on sale. Incredible deals. I believe 5 matches you can get a ticket for much less than $100.
I think it's closer to 45, 46.
Yeah. So it's a screaming deal, and you get to see the inaugural season. So check out the MBFC ticket office or online for those. Next question is, setting up any new program from scratch is obviously a monumental task. What are like some of the biggest, other than picking a roster, what are some of the biggest issues that you deal with in setting up a new squad?
I mean, I keep joking with the players I talk with on the phone, and we're kind of building the plane as we fly it. That being said, though, I don't want to say it hasn't been hard. I think it's more about connecting with the right people who are excited and interested in it. So we've had a lot of local support of just different community members, different soccer groups in the area trying to support us. And then really just kind of talking to just like-minded people in the area and just branching out. And I think that we've had so much response with just talking about what we wanted to do and how we were being supported, that I think the players have really bought into like being a part of the inaugural season and wondering where this can go from here. So I think, there's a lot of logistics behind the scenes. Monterey BFC as a club has been amazing in supporting us with that. It's not like they have a huge front office or staff, so everyone is really working double duty to support us. So I do feel like the reception just in the community, in the surrounding area, and here in the club has been amazing.
And as far as recruiting and the open tryouts process, how is the roster shaping up? We talked a little off camera that you're pretty full, but how's that all going?
Well, so, we did an open tryout in Salinas, with one of our partner clubs, the Salinas Cosmos. And then we did a second tryout here that was a more like traditional, it was people paid to try out. And then, so I would say the roster is being selected from those different tryouts, but then also scouting players. And I would say it's pretty similar to how I would imagine the first team has done it. While they do have an open tryout and they'll pull players from it, there's also a really big scouting part of this. And so just trying to find the right players. But yeah, we're trying to, get a big roster. The challenge with this is, it is we're very much an amateur team while we are pre-professional. And so, we have different players who are playing away at college right now. We're waiting for them to come back. So they'll arrive at some point in the season. And then some will have to leave early. And so what we're trying to do is really create a talented enough pool of players where we can have an amazing training environment, high level, making sure that everyone is growing throughout the summer. And then also a roster that we can call out for different games. And so we've, balancing everyone's schedule has definitely been something that's a new one for us. But I think, we've just getting organized and getting everyone here will, once everyone's playing soccer, we won't even remember the challenges.
That's a good, I like that.
Now, what do you both hope to take back from your time with the Sirens to the CSUMB sideline?
Ooh, great question. I think, the implementing the principles that we have at CSUMB is probably going to be the first thing we do with the Sirens, and just seeing that at a higher level. It's going to enhance what we're doing in those training sessions, which will just feed back to CSUMB. Really, it's just, like an overview of what we're doing, just at a higher level.
And I think also being able to support our CSUMB students with their professional journey, that's something that, we've mostly been, we're college coaches. That's really where our most of our experience has been. And so I think also just with the soccer culture here within the club, talking to the first team coaches and talking to, U20 coaches, and then also, different coaches who are scouting, I think that whole network and that knowledge will really help us support our own players. I think that's something that it's been really fun to be a part of a soccer culture. While at CSUMB, our peers are unbelievable, there's not as much soccer. Like, it's different sports. Like, I don't know if Christian's wife is the head women's volleyball coach over at CSUMB. So, like, there's great coaching peers, but it's fun to be within that soccer-rich environment.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
The more you know. So you had mentioned Salinas Cosmos and the partnership with Monterey Bay FC and Monterey Bay Sirens. How does that, in your guys' opinion, directly impact the girls of Monterey County?
For me, that's the step to get to the Sirens. It creates this kind of feeder program for the local girls to get in, be training in the same environment, the same principles, the same, to where they can just plug right into the Sirens when their time's ready. It's an incredible way to start the player pool for the Sirens.
That's cool.
And I think also it gives the ability where, the staff and I have talked about over at Cosmos, like, if players we haven't necessarily identified them, they come in the Cosmos and they're doing great. They also have the ability to be like, oh, you're doing amazing. I'm going to send you over. Well, let's have the Siren staff look at you. Also, we can share players back and forth because we're in different leagues. So in the same way, like a U20 player might train with the first team or might get in a first team game. Like, I think there were some 20s in the Pachuca game.
There was.
We could do the same thing with the Cosmos, where if we don't have players who aren't going to get a game, maybe they can go play with them. So it becomes a really seamless where we can create this soccer culture with it locally of sharing players and working together. I think representation is unbelievably important for me. I mean, beyond just for my own, playing and coaching journey, just having other women in the community doing it. So I think also with the youth players, like, there's so much excitement with the little girls. I have 2 daughters. Cristian has 1 daughter and 1 son. Like, just the idea of them looking and seeing these players in front of them, the fact that they can come and so easily watch it, I do think that representation is unbelievable. So I feel like the best thing we can do for our girls in the area, our young women and our women, is really just get out there and, like, not only support the women playing, but also support the journey for the young girl as they're growing into that. Okay. And so, the more, at the rising tides, it raises all boats. That's really what we're trying to do, just having the different layers of soccer in this area for women. It's unbelievable.
Now, I don't want you guys to give away the farm, but what should fans expect in terms of style of play from the Sirens this year? Run and gun, a lot of red cards. Like, what are you looking at here?
We like to play. We like to keep the ball. We are fans of the beautiful game. If teams are going to give us space in behind, we'll take it. But other than that, we like to play. And you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I agree. We're possession based, but very attacking minded team. So the goal is really to just be able to figure out what the team's giving you and be able to take that on the field. It's a fun style. It's something I always joke about it. Like, if I was a center mid on this team, I'd be having the best time.
Well, yeah, that's all of our questions. We're so excited. We didn't talk before, but Andrew and I, you guys heard how we met, and it's always been our goal, sustainability for the club. And now that the Sirens are here, we are right in on that. We want to see that. I honestly want to see us in the Super League at some point, because I'd love to have a real pro women's team here. And so we're so excited for you guys, and just looking forward to seeing you guys out on the pitch and the intensity that you guys are going to bring. So thank you so much for sitting down with us. And
thanks so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and check out that pretty sweet sweatshirt. There is merch already available for the Sirens. They've got that sweet logo.
Yeah, and they're available right here at Cardinale Stadium. Anytime that the stadium's open, you can get that. You can also, I believe, get that online. So make sure you guys check that out. And that's all the time we have. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks so much.